True. Wouldn't know how more she would be. You ready, Angie?
Whenever you are.
All right. Welcome everybody to the PPACG Water Quality Management Committee meeting. It's January 22nd, 2025. It is 9 a.m. Let's do a quick introduction. I'm Jonathan Moore with Fountain Sanitation District in Lower Fountain. We'll go around this room and then we'll do people online.
Brandon Bernard, Security, Water and Sanitation District.
Wally Eves, Woodland Hills.
Roy Heel, Security, Water and Sanitation Districts.
Karen Rowe, PPACG Grant Navigator.
Mackenzie Cheswick, Kimberly Horn. I'm here to represent on the site application for the Las Vegas Treatment Project.
Andy Muser with Colorado Springs Utilities.
Katie Parkhill, Kimberly Horn for the Las Vegas presentation.
I'm Kevin Brown with Cherokee Metropolitan District.
Screen.
Angie Martell with Pikes Area Council Governments.
All right, if you're online, let's just go alphabetical by first name. Go ahead.
Anne, is this me? Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Okay, my name is Ann Esch, and I was appointed by the town of Green Mountain Falls to attend these meetings. I did this a few years ago. I'm not an engineer. I'm 88 years old, and I'm a lawyer that never practiced law, but I am concerned about wastewater problems that Green Mountain is facing because we do not have a public sewer system. And so I thought, well, maybe I can learn something. And I know that Karen Rowe was at our meeting last night with the trustees. I heard her presentation about other matters, and I just wanted to say I appreciate what you're doing, and I'll just listen. And thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm Adam Monchek with Kimley Horn.
I'm Connie King. I'm an environmental lawyer and an engineer, and I represent Upper Monument, Lower Fountain, and Security.
Good.
I'll go Jim Heckman with Fountain Sanitation, Lower Fountain Metro.
JD Shivers with Woodland Hills Metro District.
JB Farmer, I'm represent Fort Carson, the U.S. Army.
If there are no more J's, this is Kirk Medina, Strathmore Hills Water and Sanitation.
I'm Mark Voli with Colorado Springs Utilities.
Is that everybody? Angie? I can't quite see.
Well, we missed one for the K. Oh no, we got everybody.
All right. All right, thank you everybody for being here and being online. Angie, it appears that we have a quorum.
We do.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you. All right, public comments. Anybody from the public like to make a comment regarding today's agenda or anything else? Okay, hearing none. First item, 4A, application Las Vegas Street Water Resource Recovery Facility. Kimberly Horn, who wants to go?
Do you have our presentation? We have our laptop. Okay, perfect. Thanks for having us today. My name is Mackenzie Cheswick. I'm with Kimberly Horn, one of the design engineers on here. Let you introduce yourself.
Katie Parkhill, design engineer for this project.
And then we also have Adam Monchek online. He is the project manager.
Why isn't Adam here today? Just curious.
It's quite the drive. We've got a lot of different site visits and things this week as well, so.
All right, let me make a note of that.
They're doing so good.
Adam and I go way back.
Yeah, so just jumping in here, we are doing a project on the Las Vegas Street wastewater plant that is owned and operated by Colorado Springs Utilities. Before this meeting here, we've done presentations at the Lower Fountain Water Quality Management Association, as well as the SART Committee for Pikes Peak Area Governments. And then we have a few more steps to get our site application approved. And all of this is for going through the CDPHE site application process and as part of our 208 planning agency approval. So just a little bit about the project. So we are doing improvements on the existing influent infrastructure. Back in 2017, Colorado Springs Utilities started exploring options on how to improve the influent infrastructure and get some redundancy built in. And then unfortunately in 2022, in the summer of 2022, there was a failure that resulted in lots of bypass pumping requirement and an emergency repair by Colorado Springs. And so that pushed the need for this project up a little bit in the calendar. So we are working to build in these bypassing options into the influent infrastructure. And what we mean by bypassing options is, you know, if a pipe were to collapse or structure to fail or something, there are alternative routes to get the wastewater into the plant so that bypass pumping multiple million gallons per day is not going to be required in the future. We also looked out with Colorado Springs Wastewater Planning Group. We looked out all the way to 2027 so that we can include potential future flows in our sizing exercise for these structures and these pipes, just to ensure that, you know, 10 years down the road, we don't have to go in and upsize these pipes that we just put in. And then as far as the discharge permits for the site, whenever Colorado Springs Utilities reaches their capacity for treatment, they will have to go back in and reapply and upgrade their discharge permit for those increased flows. And then, like I was saying, we're going through the site application process and we are eligible for self-certification through CDPHE because we are not touching any of the treatment operations. We are only looking at the influent infrastructure portion, and our work actually stops before the headworks building of the plant. Yeah, that's project overall. And then if you want to go to the next slide, I'll toss it to Katie. Perfect.
So this is Exhibit A in our site application, if y'all have had a chance to look at it. The orange extents are just our proposed upgrades. All of the blue dots are potable water wells in the area. Next. And this is our service area map. So all of the light pink purple is what we are concerned with and our projected flows. That includes the eastern expansion. And these were all the flows that we considered for the 2074. Next, please. So this is our site plan. I'll walk through it briefly. So on this is gate 2 entering the street interceptor, diversion structure 1. This will capture flows from the 48-inch Las Vegas Street interceptor as well as the 30-inch Las Vegas Street interceptor. We concluded that flows from this 30-inch right here are negligible and that utilities does not foresee needing this 30-inch in the future. So we will be abandoning it in order to make this area over here a bit more clean. So we will be capturing flows here. And if we did need to divert flows away from this area, we can use the Monument Creek Interceptor Diversion Structure 1 and just flow down here. This is the Monument Creek Interceptor Diversion Structure 2. This is a pretty steep grade. This is a retaining wall right here, so we will require bypass pumping out of here into the standpipe one so that we can gravity flow into the Las Vegas Street Interceptor Diversion Structure 1. Over here, we have our bypass vault west that will capture flows from the Monument Creek Interceptor through this 84-inch flowing into Junction Box 2. We also have Junction Box 3, bypass vault east, Spring Creek Interceptor diversion structure, which will capture flows from the existing 30-inch Spring Creek Interceptor that will be eventually upgraded to a 54-inch. We have the Spring Creek Interceptor manhole that is just for the purpose of bypass pumping during construction because the nearest manhole is north of the railroad tracks. And we have the bypass vault east manhole that is just aiding in change of direction of flow.
And one more thing I wanted to note here, a majority of these structures are new, but we will be removing and replacing the existing junction box 2 and 3 as part of this project. So those structures are existing. Junction box 2 has 3 actuated gates that control flow into the headworks building. So we'll be replacing the box and those associated gates. And then that failure that I mentioned earlier that happened in July of 2022 occurred right here on the 60-inch pipe in between the two structures. So that's why we're having so many options around these structures, just in case, something were to go wrong again. Adam, did you have anything to add?
Nope. I think y'all covered it well.
Great. Go to the next slide, please. So these are the existing and projected flows that we took into account in our modeling to size the pipes and the structures. The top chart is the existing influent pipe flows, and the bottom chart is the projected wastewater flows through 2074. We worked with the Colorado Springs Utilities Wastewater Planning Group to project these flows and make sure that our pipe sizes would not need to be upgraded before 2074. And one more slide, please. And just to wrap up here, again, like I had said earlier, we are not touching any of the treatment components of this plant, nor are we increasing flows coming into the plant. Organic loading will not change due to the proposed project because we are only putting in new structures to help facilitate flow in various directions. We will be upgrading the existing odor control. Right now we're in preliminary design to replace the odor control system altogether at the existing junction box 2 area. And since we are adding these additional structures, overall emergency storage capacity will be increased just by the volume at each structure. And then as far as the operational component of this, Colorado Springs Utilities operations staff at the plant, as well as the collection system teams, will work together to maintain these structures. Essentially, inside the fence will be the treatment staff, the treatment operations staff, and outside the fence will be the collection staff. But that is all we have for you today. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a couple of questions, I guess. One, and this probably doesn't have anything to do with the project per se, but you mentioned potable water wells in the area. And I assume that's just something you have to identify as part of the site application.
Correct.
But I was just curious who owns those, whether they're still used, because generally, I guess there's maybe a little area that's not within the city of Colorado Springs, the Garden Valley area. Do you guys know anything? Bottom line, do you know anything about the wells? I was just curious.
Well, I know. Go ahead, Adam.
I would say that, when we get those off of the state website, right? And that is, as you know, a requirement as part of the site application process to identify those. So any of the specifics related to, the users, the activity with those wells, and if they're currently being used, we didn't get into that level of detail with the analysis that we've done.
Okay. Second question, and again, not part of the project, for my own personal travel plans, is Las Vegas going to be tore up like indefinitely?
I wouldn't say indefinitely. We do have a traffic control plan as part of our design package. And we are working with Colorado Springs Utilities PR groups to make sure that folks are aware of when things are going to be shut down. Once we bring a contractor on board, we'll be able to finalize that traffic control plan. And I believe we'll also have to kind of publish it for the group or for the public to be aware. But as of now, the plan is to maintain at a minimum 1 lane of traffic on that road.
Okay.
I believe it's a high priority to maintain traffic there just because the sheriff department uses it to go back and forth between the local jail and the courthouse. So we have to maintain at least 1 pathway of travel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Motorcycles can go by parked vehicles now.
Oh.
Anything else? All right, no other questions, comments? Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course.
All right, do we have a recommendation for this project to go on?
I move to provide a favorable recommendation for the project to the PPACG.
I'll second.
Awesome. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, guys. All right,
Thank you.
one more step.
One more step.
Getting smooth at it.
All right, I know.
That's the goal, isn't it? Thank you for having us. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
You betcha.
Thanks for.
Of course.
All right, next item up, 5A, the 208 plan items for update. Angie.
Yes, okay, so just quick background, in case anyone wasn't here last meeting. This year, we're doing some minor updates to the 208 plan. This isn't a full-blown update, just some minor things, and I showed you the list of things that we're looking to update at last meeting. It's not here today, I can just share that with you if you still need it, but, 2 things off that list we're gonna take on. First, our service area maps and the current and projected capacity. So, in your packet of info, I took all the service area maps out of the 208 plan. Just for your information, really, we don't have to look, I mean, they're here for your viewing, but the big question here is, and you may only know this for your individual service areas, I'm not sure. The last time the 208 plan was updated was 2019, so it's probably 2017, 2018 data. So have any changes occurred to these service areas since then that we need to be updating these maps? You may not know off the top of your head, but if you do.
We've had some small changes, but I'm not sure they'd even show up on a map at that scale.
Okay, yeah, so these maps are terrible. That's another thing that we need to update is to make these maps usable. And, readable things. So if you do have changes, do you have GIS files or can you send it to me?
Yeah,
Or a map? Well, probably we'll make the maps actually, but if you can send me GIS files. Anyone else have service area changes? Note that the data shown on these maps also includes discharge locations. So any changes to that? Okay. Anyone online have changes to your? Go ahead.
Colorado Springs Utilities has changes to our service area map, and I can provide you a GIS file.
Yeah, that would be great. And then
We
Go
do
ahead.
too. We got some small changes. We can send you a GIS shape file.
Great, that'd be great. And with that, any of the discharge locations as well. Would it
Stratmore
help?
Hills- Oops,
Go ahead.
excuse me. Stratmore Hills has no changes.
Thank you. Would it be helpful for the group for me to send a reminder out asking for the GIS files?
Yes,
please.
Okay, I will do that. Someone here that's in the Chico Creek watershed. Sorry, I don't have everyone memorized. Okay, just noting, no one's here, but I'll say it. That map needs to be updated regardless because it's like, even you can't read that map whatsoever. Like the scale of this is outrageous. So it's unusable. Even if you zoom in, it's like you can't read the text. So I'll contact, folks out there and see who those service providers are and make sure that those are all updated and probably divide that into some different separate maps. Okay, so I'll send an email out for GIS updates on that. And then for current and projected capacities. So there's some tables in here. Jared is managing us very good. So this is also for your information. I don't expect that you have all this stuff memorized. Some text in red, like that COG permit number, I'm not sure if that's correct. But those are general little changes that we need to verify. So Academy Water and Sanitation District, I'll probably reach out to you with those specific questions. But with that, have any changes occurred to the design capacities, existing load, projected capacity since probably 2017, 2018 data?
Yeah, I think our changes were prior to that. They should have been incorporated. We can check. but,
Okay,
um,
okay.
And we'll have to update the existing load, the design's the same.
Okay. Another thing is that our current 208 plan does not show projected capacity. Is that data that you guys have somewhere?
How far in the future are you projecting?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's not specified, so that is up to our group to decide how far out. We will be doing a bigger update to the plan, hopefully next year or the next couple of years after that. So I think whatever you have right now would be good, that we need to have it included in here. So whatever you have projected.
Permitted capacity kind of cover that?
Does it?
It does,
Okay,
but if you're looking at the next 50 years,
probably not for this update. In our next update, yes.
oh, okay, so for this one, it does then. Yeah.
So you're looking more for like a 10-year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because this is just whatever we can do this year. So whatever makes sense and it's not too onerous for you to tell me those numbers. Also, I am happy to pull that data if I can get that from a source. I just don't know what that is. Otherwise, I'll have to ask everyone individually.
Not sure there's a centralized easy source unless you want to look at everyone's discharge permits and dig through.
Individually.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Okay.
Well, easy for us to give that to you.
Okay.
Include that in your email.
Yep. I'm gonna send a list of everything. I just want to make sure we talk about it here, so we're all on the same page.
And I got a question. This is
Yeah.
Jesse at Woodmore. On your projected load, you just got hydraulic loading cited. Are you not interested in any organic loading or capacities?
That's not been specified in what CDPHE's asked in this update. Let me throw that back to you all. Is that something that you would find useful to be included in the 208 plan? Which one, or both?
Certainly hydraulic.
Okay,
And the only reason I bring it up is with the projected capacity, we're looking at expanding our blower system over at Tri-Lakes. And so that will boost our organic capacity for the plant, but the hydraulic capacity won't be changed.
okay.
Are there any plant redesign or expansion thresholds set by CDPHE based on organic loading, or are they all based on hydraulic loading?
Oh, I think they're based on organic as well. Ours are.
They're both.
They're both.
Yeah, yeah.
It might be useful to have that.
Both?
Yeah.
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 But then you have to go through a whole plan for both hydraulic and organic loading.
Yeah, it's on our permit, so it's easy for us to get that
Right.
information.
Okay, so you have the info?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll revise this, table to differentiate between the two.
Sure.
Okay,
Whatever you look like, for us, our hydraulic loading is up there, but organic is still low.
Oh, really?
So
and
it
then-
might depend on what you have for, industry or.
okay. And this is projected, right? Or are we doing planned, existing? Permitted.
That's a good,
Permitted instead of projected? Okay.
yeah.
yeah, that's more specific. Great.
Cause Angie, a lot of our permits, if you get to 75% capacity to 80%, you're in design phase for that expansion of that plant.
Okay,
So that's why when Roy says permitted, that kind of pulls us all together and compares apples to apples.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
So there are some actually in the 208 plan that are 75% or higher capacity right now. I don't know if that's something we address here or.
State. Yeah, the state now all of a sudden will send us a nice
A note.
letter saying that.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah,
Okay.
where are you guys moving with this?
Okay. All right, so then this is probably why they want all these updated to make sure we're on. Everything's jiving. Okay, all right. So it sounds like everyone has the info for what we need for service area maps and capacities. So I'll just compile all this into an email, send it out to everybody. If you guys could send me the info, let's say end of February is fine. Is that enough time for everybody? Online?
Works for me.
That's plenty of time, yeah.
All right, and then there are some questions on permit numbers for a couple of people. It looks like there could be some typos in our existing 208 plan, so I'll just verify those permit numbers as well. I'm not sure that that looks right.
We can send those to you as well,
Okay. All right, great,
right there in the same document.
great, easy.
And you're gonna send this out to everybody?
Yeah, I'll send like sort of a wish list to everybody. Answer questions 1 through 5 for all of your permits sort of thing.
Perfect.
Okay. Any questions for me on that or the group? The group's probably a better source to answer questions than me. All right. I think we're good there.
All right, thank you, Angie. All right, next item, 6A, funding updates. Karen.
Yeah, I put all the grant information up there already. One of the things is that EPA Water Technical Assistance Program, and so that's not really to me, that's to the EPA, and it's a long-term process. I know City of Victor or City of Cripple Creek has signed up for it, and you know, they have some initial meetings and then they ask for your information and they coordinate meetings, and so it's a long-term interactive assistance for future funding, but also how to set your rates or other items like that. So it's both, I think, for drinking water as well as water quality. And then the Mountain and Plains Grant Hub, again, that's really for smaller communities to help out. I don't know, the only thing I'm not sure about is whether it's for, water districts.
Okay,
Or whether it's
so
just for communities.
I wanted to speak a little bit on this Mountain and Plains MAP EJ grant. We just submitted one for our air quality program. And PPACG, I submitted, and I really wanted to talk to the water group about this because there are planning grants up to 250,000 and then implementation grants up to 350,000. And it could be for small communities. The main thing we need to show is that disadvantaged communities would be impacted, and disadvantaged communities for sure are impacted with water quality in our region, especially Fountain Creek watershed and Chico Creek watershed, and to some extent the western as well. So if you have a planning grant or an implementation grant that is water quality related, I'd be more than happy to help with, and Karen also, with writing a grant, putting together a project, and also pulling together stats and whatever information you need to argue that this is a disadvantaged community to help get these grants through. So they have another grant cycle spring, and then another one in fall of 2025. So these are huge grants, and
no match
required. And we did one for air quality. I would love to do one for water quality. So if you have anything anyone online has anything, or just want to talk to us about what that might look like, it's a really good grant program, and we can help you put the grant together. That's all I got for that one.
Okay. Yeah, it's a new program that they've just started. So I know City of Fountain and City of Victor submitted some, but not on water quality.
Mhm.
But okay, you can scroll down. The Water Smart grants. Some of these are more for, like, I'm working with Fountain Creek Watershed District, some of them along those lines. So I wanted to make sure that you guys got this information out. And then like the webinars are very good. And if you have any questions about them, to let me know. So I really just put in here because I wasn't sure what you'd be interested in. And so that one in particular, it's water conservation and efficiency more than water quality. But, you know, if any of that related to your water groups, that would be helpful. And again, a lot of these are a certain percentage of federal share, but because it's under the IIJA and IRA, you could apply for the state's match program that they still have in place for that. The Water Smart Cooperative Watershed Management Program. So this is a re-release, and I know Fountain Creek Watershed District submitted one for Jackson Creek, and they were not successful. We just found out yesterday, but it's coming up again in May. So we do have some examples of that. I know some of the other water districts around Colorado were successful, but you do have to get started early, and there could be states. But again, it's mainly for watershed areas or watershed districts to help with erosion along those watersheds. So it's not so much water quality treatment. It just depends on what you're needing. So that's why I was just wondering if you had any particular questions. I'm the grant navigator, so I can research these, but a lot of times it helps when I know what is your need, and then I can look at the grant in more detail because I'm covering all grants, right? Solar, broadband, transportation, you know, and water. And so with the water, it's always a little tricky, but these were some that I know are coming up. There is one for drinking water coming up, and it's called drought resiliency. But with the new administration too, there is some changes or uncertainty headed down the road. So these are ones we're hoping will stay and keep going.
The MAP EJ grants, I inquired about that situation, and because the EPA already gave the money to what are called grant makers, it's already essentially been distributed.
Oh,
So
good.
the grant makers are now giving us the money. So that has already been awarded essentially. So
So, and this is where I don't want to discourage anyone, but Trump signed executive order yesterday, kind of stopping all flow of money from IIJA and RA until for 90 days or something until they can look at it. But like she said, that money's already flowing or flowed, so it's still accessible. Yeah, but I know the state of Colorado still has assistance and local match and is moving forward. They just said just keep going and we'll see how it goes. We're just not sure which grant programs will stay and which will be shifted.
We recently upgraded our treatment plant and process, but we desperately need a administrative building and ran out of money. So we've applied for several grants and haven't had any luck with that, but it seems,
So you need operational capacity building?
yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of funny when you think about it that our treatment process is great, but we can't take care of our employees as far as providing, you know, suitable facilities for them. So, and we pled our case a few times, but the trouble is we don't really check the boxes either. We're not a small system. We're not a disadvantaged community. We just don't have any money. So,
And where were you, where?
security
Security.
and our loan capacity is pretty much used up.
So if you're in the Fountain Creek watershed or Chico Creek watershed, I would argue that you could show that you're disadvantaged. From the recent EPA. They updated their, I don't know what it looked like before, but they updated their disadvantaged communities map. And I could help you make the case for being a disadvantaged community.
Cause it can, you know, as long as it's impacting, which is downstream, you know, and almost half a fountain.
Yeah,
And but you need operational capacity, so you need salaries to pay your
Well,
employees, is that what
no,
you're saying?
we need
No.
a facility to put
Okay.
them in. Because
Okay.
right now, they're all over the place. Any
Mhm.
nook or cranny that we can put an office, they're there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
from
what
Home
you
Depot.
need.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, it's really,
Kind of next to the light.
So it's facilities to have your employees
Right.
housed while they're running the
Yeah.
treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
It is, yeah. Question, I don't know if this grant information is helpful for everyone. Do you want more of this? And
sure,
yeah,
I say
Okay.
yes.
and then,
Did I put down the state stuff too?
I
Further
didn't
down?
see it, but we can give,
Okay, and they have, so there's state grants too, and I
Mhm.
didn't know if you were aware of them. And then I can check into some of that too.
yeah, same. And then do we want to, does everyone, I don't know if this is a good time for it, but it's helpful for us to know what your needs are as far as funding so that we can
Yeah.
specifically look for grants and be like, oh, here's funding for exactly, Roy needed a building space, here's funding for that. Would it be helpful to have a meeting to talk about needs, or does anyone want to share?
You want to share it now or have a specific meeting dedicated to that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Could be
you
a
can-
2-hour meeting.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. If anyone wants to share now, then that's good, but
What about the email you're gonna send out to us?
you can
5
respond.
items and then add a 6 and say, what are your grant kind of needs?
What are your funding needs?
Then you guys can kind of pool those.
Okay, all right, we'll do that.
Once the state catches up on getting permits out, you're gonna be flooded with them.
Yeah, that's true, but yeah,
See what them-
15 years.
Hopefully, listen.
We're pulling the trigger next year, so.
probably better though. Okay, well, I will send an update, or with the update email, I'll ask for that info, so just unload. If you got lots of needs, think it may or may not get funded, we'll try to search for stuff. Okay. Aaron, you got anything else or questions?
Could I ask a question?
You can.
This is Ann in Green Mountain Falls. Could I get all those emails also that you're sending? You know, you can send them to my personal email or the town. Gosh, I think I've still got a Gmail account up there. I was on the planning commission until just a couple of months ago. I resigned and some younger people have taken over. But just to keep up with it, and you know, our need will be bad. And let me just explain a little further, if you don't mind me taking your time.
Go ahead.
We in Green Mountain Falls, you know, we're right on Fountain Creek. We don't have any kind of a central system to handle things. We do have CSU water and that kind of thing. But for instance, we have a lot of cesspools. This town was built in late 1800s. My great grandfather built 2 little places in 1914 that are still in our family. Very small property. So we would not have room for septic system if our old cesspools fail. They're still legal because we only use them in the summer. And we don't have any modern appliances at all. But so I'm just interested in looking forward. I certainly care about the environment And I know that Regulation 43 is coming in. And, there's just a lot going on. I'm trying to stay in touch with the state people. um, the reason I'm interested, just to tell you a personal thing real quick, way back, my father in Kansas fought for water rights for the farmers in Kansas against the city of Wichita for 13 years. He lost in the Supreme Court, and the next year, Nixon founded the EPA. So I've been interested and lived through a lot of these things, and I do care. And I just want to be interested, and if I can help my town or anybody, I would like to know all that. Thank you.
Definitely, Anne. I'll make sure I have your contact information and get in contact with you and make sure we share info with you as well.
Well, you're very kind, and I can't contribute much except just wanting to know what to do. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Karen, anything else?
Not in particular. I was just wondering, do you have the new Cripple Creek plant managers? Information?
No. So we did send out all 2024 email trying to get everyone to confirm if you're primary or secondary representative on the WQMC. Everyone here's responded. There's plenty that haven't.
Okay.
Including Green Mountain Falls. That's why, Ann, I'll reach out to you about making sure you're noted as the primary on the WQMC. And then Cripple Creek, we haven't had a response. Other cities and towns that are meant to be voting members on WQMC haven't responded. So, if you have these contacts, it would be helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know if
There's a new plant manager. His name is Jonathan, but I forget what his last name is.
Okay, but they do need to be confirmed as being part of the WQMC in order to vote for stuff, and so that has to go to our board and approve. So,
okay,
yeah, there's a whole process, but I do want to get in contact with them.
And to remind me, pretty much everybody that's a member of this is a voting member, right?
Yeah, so everyone here is.
Who's are? I didn't hear you voting. I'm like, I wonder if Kevin knows he can.
Kevin.
Good to know.
So part of that email, can you,
Yeah.
that you send out, say, here's a list of everybody and whether you're a voting member or not?
Primary and secondary.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have, I don't know what you call it, basically a PDF that shows primary and secondary for all of who would be a voting member according to the bylaws on the committee. So
That'd be helpful.
we can
It
include that.
changes over time, it seems like. But
It does, and it just changed when I got here because we didn't have an updated one. So,
Right.
as of what we have updated, I'll send it out. And then Karen, you'll be able to see those who haven't responded and we don't have a contact for them. Oh, there it is. Jared is so on top of things. So that's what I'll send out. And that's been updated as of
Okay.
the current info that I sent out a few months ago. So
Yeah,
if you guys want to go ahead.
I noticed, sorry, this is Ann again. I noticed, my name isn't there. I know that it was sent in, to the main office of PPACG, and you can't keep up with everything. So, but I guess I represent Green Mountain Falls. So if I vote, I will probably vote with the experts. So thank you.
It may have been sent in, but this was an update as of like September or October, something of last year.
That was
So we'll
long.
just need,
Mhm.
we'll need to have it updated is all, but I'll get in touch with you about that.
Oh, that's nice. Or you can call the town too. So that's
Okay,
fine.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Anything else? I just want to thank you, Karen and Angie, for championing this, finding us money and these grants and everything else, because that could really, really benefit a lot of us, I think. I know there's huge needs with water quality and on Fountain Creek and so forth. So thank you. That's invaluable in my opinion.
Well, hopefully we can get some written for you.
That's right. Then we'll bring donuts.
Yeah.
Well, and I haven't seen them, but I know the city of Colorado Springs got 700,000 in grants for Fountain Creek. 400,000 with the city, and then there's 300,000 for what's called the Fountain Creek Watershed and Company. Like,
Right,
So-
that district.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not a district, it's
not
it's a nonprofit.
right.
Yeah, so it's not Fountain Creek Watershed District, it's Fountain
Oh.
Creek Watershed Incorporated. And it's a 501c that was done in 2022.
Okay.
So I think it's more, it's improving the erosion along Fountain Creek, but also some of the recreational trails
Oh,
next to
okay.
the creek. But I'm trying to find out, yeah, who's the contact for that, because it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the TAC committee that a lot of us sit on, but I guess it's not that group. So
You bring that up every time.
Oh, you think it's Ally?
Yeah, I looked it up and I see it's a 501c and it has an EIN number, but I don't have a contact for it. And I just was talking to Gail Sturtevant and she said, she thinks it's a group that changed names again, but I don't know.
Okay.
What it is, but they did get 700,000 in federal.
of course they
Yeah,
did.
because they're underprivileged.
Exactly.
And then, I'm pretty sure Jonathan Smith is the director of operations. or
Yes,
whatever
yeah.
at Cripple Creek, so if you guys need his contact, I can probably get.
Yeah, I
that'd be-
have it.
Okay, I don't have it, so.
Is that
I just can't.
That used to be a Cherokee.
Yeah.
It's the same one?
Yep.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
thought he moved to
Texas.
Texas.
Right.
Oh, it came back.
I think he's keeping a low profile.
Oh.
Is he?
Not
Cat's out of the
anymore.
bag. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't like all that heat down there in Texas after all. All righty, thank you. Let's go to item number 7, member entity announcements. Anybody have anything they want to bring before us today? Seeing none, okay. Item 8A, upcoming PPACG meeting schedule.
This is just to say when our next meeting is, but also, does anyone have suggestions or asks for upcoming meetings? Things to cover, things you want to learn more about, things that we want to discuss? That you guys want to collaborate on at all? I know this, you have had 3 seconds to think about that, so.
This is
Normally-
Ann. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ann.
Well, I'm sorry. I would like to have more discussion about, the rural areas and how we can accommodate the environment safely and reasonably. We're just in trouble, I'm afraid. So thank you. I don't know what you could arrange, but like I mentioned, Regulation 43 is coming, and our county Department of Public Health will be involved in updating that. So it's just the little town that I live in. That's it. I don't know if
Okay.
others are concerned. Thank you.
And can you tell me briefly what regulation 43 is? It's escaping me.
Well, it has to do with mainly it's just outdated waste systems. If you look it up with the Colorado Department of Environment and that sort of thing, I can't think what it's called right now. But if you look up Regulation 43, and it has to do with that's what it's called, on-site wastewater systems. And that means cesspools and septic tanks, people that are off the main wastewater systems, And so I've had some discussions with them, and it's just more and more complicated as the population, especially in the mountains, increases, because we live in a valley, and our population, when I was a little girl, the main people that lived there all year was 30. Now it's over 800. And people have built septic systems that also may have to be updated even more. We don't know. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just interested. And I'd like to learn more, and I've been involved in the government as a volunteer all my life. So I'm just concerned, and I'm concerned for the environment. We all are. We want to make sure that we have clean water and clean lakes and streams. So that was what piqued my interest, was Regulation 43, because what's going to happen to a lot of our citizens, and this really wouldn't concern you, but I believe that when the title changes to a piece of property, for instance, some of our old houses that go down through families, that it's quite possible that the cesspools that are still working, but they would be outlawed. And I think there's new technology available, like incinerator toilets, all those things, that maybe we can think about. We do have water from Colorado Springs Utilities, and perhaps they'll get interested with us too. We don't know. I haven't even thought about that, but it's very expensive to put in waste treatment plants. So, that's just what I'm thinking. So I don't want to be a nuisance to you, because I know you have to do a lot of more things, but that's what I'm thinking about. Thank you.
I appreciate the suggestion and letting us know about the regulation. I know the 208 plan does mention OWTS a lot. I don't know how many people here have issues with that. Anyway, so we can.
I don't
Could
know.
impact some of us as some of these systems fail if they're close enough to our system.
Okay.
Whether the county makes them tie in or not, we'll have to take them in.
Okay.
So it could have an impact on some of us.
Okay, great.
It impacts us in that there's a substantial population in our basin that use those systems, and it's growing. And there were recent studies that tied a lot of our nutrient contamination to just thousands and thousands of those systems.
Okay.
So it's something we not necessarily we deal with directly day to day, but definitely impacts our watershed.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
So I can look at contacting CDPHE, what we can learn about that. So you guys just can be informed. Any new technology coming out with that as well that might also impact you. Thanks for the suggestion.
Thank you.
My thought is tying some of that to our regular meetings, which we don't necessarily have every month, but we have them when an application comes in. I'm not a huge proponent of meetings just for the sake of meeting. So I would like it kind of combined with applications.
For sure.
So.
Sure.
And again, Ann, we don't meet every month, but when applications do come through,
I
but
know.
if we go 4 or 5 months without meeting and we have some items we should bring up, then I think that'd be fine, but.
Great.
I'm just looking out, seeing a lot of head nodding, but.
Yeah, we don't have to have a meeting just to have a meeting, but it's good to have info to bring into site application meetings. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, anything else anybody has that they'd like to bring before our board or committee here? Hearing and seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, everybody, for meeting with us. Great suggestions, great topics, and great discussions.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Take care.
Jonathan.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
When's the next tech?
Coming up, actually. I just
Great.
got a thing.
Thanks.